I use herbs and spices for both spiritual and health reasons, particularly for protection. I've always believed this should reflect ancient animistic beliefs, that all of God's creation has a spirit or a soul, thus uniting the spiritual and the medicinal. Indeed, I've become something of a herbalist in my mountain home, and my neighbours seek out my advice on ailments. In part, this reflects that I don't charge for my expertise, but also the lack of Western medical expertise where I live. However, I need to add that my expertise is nothing like as certain as that of Parcano. I seem to understand the effects of the chemical properties on the body, whereas Parcano focuses on the soul. Nevertheless, I had never given too much thought to this, and had atomised the benefits as science encourages to do. However, I've recently come across a number of AI-generated vlogs about herbs and spices, which have made me give some more thought to this. As you know, I'm very sceptical of AI, given its ability to convincingly fabricate information. I have attempted to check my contents, but apologise if I've inadvertently carried forward fabrications into my vlog. Not unnaturally, my focus is on those herbs and spices I commonly use and indeed grow at my home in Java. In fact, whilst I grow many of these herbs and spices for medicinal and culinary use, we do believe that the plants in the garden provide an important spiritual advantage, especially protecting us from black magic, often neutralising the use of another herb used in magic. And this is not unlike the use of such herbs in Wiccan protection jars. Again, despite holding these views, it's not something I've given any real deep thought to. But what impressed me about these AI vlogs was how universal these associations are, often across cultures. However, this vlog is not intended as a comprehensive description of the use of herbs and spices within Western witchcraft. It is thus a very personal description of what I do in Java, with reference to other countries. Salt, or garam as it is in Indonesia, or ionic compound is a chemical compound consisting of an assembly of positive charged ions, cations, and negative charged ions, anions, which results in a compound with no net electric charge, electrically neutral. The constituent ions are held together by electrostatic forces, termed ionic bonds. Common salts include ammonium chloride, magnesium sulphate, calcium chloride, sodium hypochloride, sodium nitrate, and sodium bicarbonate. In this vlog, I discuss sodium chloride, table salt, magnesium sulphate, Epsom salts, and baking soda, sodium bicarbonate. When used in food, especially in granulated form, it's more formally called table salt. In the form of a natural crystalline mineral, salt is also known as rock salt or halite. Its use by man certainly can be traced back to prehistoric times. Salt works have been found in China, dating back to 6000 BCE. Salt is processed from salt mines and by evaporation of seawater, sea salt, and mineral-rich springs in shallow pools. The greatest single use for salt, sodium chloride, is as a feedstock for the production of chemicals. It's used to produce caustic soda and chlorine. It's also used in the manufacturing process of polyvinyl chloride, plastics, paper pulp, and many other projects. Of the annual global production of around 300 million tonnes of salt, only a small percentage is used for human consumption. Other uses include water conditioning processes, de-icing highways, and agricultural use. Edible salt is a solid form of sea salt and table salt, the latter which usually contains an anti-caking agent, for example sodium aluminosilicate or magnesium carbonate, and may be iodised to prevent iodine deficiency. As well as used in cooking and at the table, salt is present in many processed foods. Salt is one of the oldest and most ubiquitous food seasonings, and is known to uniformly improve the taste perception of food, including otherwise unpalatable food. Salting, brining and pickling are also ancient and important methods of food preservation. Salt is essential for life in general, being the source of essential dietary materials, sodium and chlorine, and saltiness is one of the basic human tastes. Sodium is an essential element for human health via its role as an electrolyte and osmotic solute. Too little sodium can lead to hypotrimemia and symptoms of dizziness, confusion, muscle twitches and seizures. Low sodium levels can result if there is too much fluid in the body, for example because of fluid retention. Other causes of low sodium in the body include Addison disease, a blockage in the small intestine, diarrhea and vomiting, an underactive thyroid, heart failure, drinking too much water, burns. If you exercise or do physical work in the heat long enough, you can lose fluid and salt in your sweat. This will cause sharp pains, especially in your arms, belly and calves. To keep this from happening, you need to take fluids and salt. Salt is an important antiviral and antimicrobial agent. Rinsing your mouth with salt water can ease the pain and help you heal faster from canker sores. To ease swellings and tenderness of an ingrown toenail, soak your foot in warm salt water several times a day. Salt is a proven way to help you breathe easier when you've got a cold, the flu or allergies. If you have psoriasis or eczema, salt can relieve the scaly patches and inflammation. Gargling with salt water can ease swelling and make a sore, scratchy throat feel better. Consuming enough salt promotes optimal digestive health. In general, salt can help you maintain adequate hydration and blood pressure levels. However, excessive salt consumption may increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases, such as hypertension, in children and adults. Salt has long held an important place in religion and culture. At the time of Abrahamic sacrifices, in Hittite rituals and during festivals held by Semites and Greeks, at the time of the new moon, salt was thrown into a fire where it produced crackling noises. The ancient Egyptians, Greeks and Romans invoked their gods with offerings of salt and water. In Hinduism, salt is known as lavana, and it's an essential element in rituals representing the eternal essence of life. In particular, salt is used in religious ceremonies like housewarmings and weddings. In Jainism, devotees lay an offering of raw rice with a pinch of salt before a deity to signify their devotion, and salt is sprinkled on a person's cremated remains before the ashes are buried. Salt is believed to ward off evil spirits in Mahayana Buddhist tradition, and when returning home from a funeral, a pinch of salt is thrown over the left shoulder as it prevents evil spirits from entering the house. In the Bible, there are multiple mentions of salt, both of the mineral itself and as a metaphor. Uses in the Hebrew Bible include the tale of how Lot's wife is turned into a pillar of salt when looking back at the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah as they are destroyed. The judge Ambimech is described as salting the earth after destruction of the city of Sasha, probably as a curse on anyone who would re-inhabit it. In the New Testament, Jesus refers to his followers as the salt of the earth. Salt's correspondence in magic are ruling planet the earth, the element the earth, planet Saturn, zodiac Capricorn, gender feminine, deities Hecate and periphone. Thus salt is celebrated for diverse magical applications. The key magical properties of salt include purification. Salt is renowned for its ability to cleanse and purify both physical and spiritual spaces, making it essential for ritual cleansing. Protection. It's used as a protective barrier against negative energies, spirits, and harmful influences. Grounding. Salt helps to ground energy, making it an excellent choice for balancing and stabilising spells and rituals. Manifesting. Used in abundance and prosperity spells, salt is believed to attract positive energy and manifest desires. To purify your space or tools, create a salt water solution by dissolving salt in water. Use this mixture to clean crystals, tarot cards, or other magical tools. You can sprinkle salt in the corners of a room to absorb negative energies. I keep salt with my tarot cards in a pouch to remove any negative energies. For protective magic, create a salt circle around your workspace or during rituals. This barrier helps to shield you against unwanted energies and spirits. You can also place bowls of salt at the entrance of your home for ongoing protection. Salt can be used as an ingredient in a witch bottle for protection. In hoodoo, for more aggressive spells against enemies such as hotfoot and crossing, salt may be added to red peppers, sulphur and bluestone. Whenever we become aware of malevolent ghosts or spirits in a home, we liberally sprinkle salt. But do clear it up after a few days when it has trapped the entity and remove it from our property. Many people use salt to mark and protect the boundary of their property. It's especially useful when moving into a new house. To ground your energy before or after a ritual, hold a small amount of salt in your hand or sprinkle it around your feet while visualizing excess energy flowing into the earth. This practice helps to stabilize your energy and promote a sense of calm. In Latin America, salt is used to prepare a very important magical formula called rattlesnake salt, which is believed to lengthen life and provide protection for the home or place of business. In Java, salt is widely used as a medium for channeling energy, gaining knowledge, getting rid of bad luck, and also self-cleansing. If we believe that we're being attacked by ghosts or spirits, we bathe in water containing salt, flowers, and down bidara or sidra to rid ourselves of these parasites. Salt is also the main element in Kajawan rituals, used to stop a partner, usually a husband, from cheating. Incorporate salt into abundance spells by adding a pinch to a prosperity jar, along with herbs like basil and cinnamon. You can also sprinkle salt around your workplace, whilst focusing on your financial goals to attract prosperity. Salt is sometimes left as an offering to a deity. Add salt to your bath for cleansing and purifying experience. Unrefined sea salt contains small amounts of magnesium and calcium, halides, and sulfates, traces of algal products, salt-resistant bacteria, and sediment particles. The calcium and magnesium salts confer a faintly bitter overtone, and they make unrefined sea salt hygroscopic, i.e. it gradually absorbs moisture from the air if stored uncovered. For this reason, I prefer to use sea salt, but I'm lucky as most salt in Indonesia is sea salt. Sea salt is particularly good for purification and cleansing. It's also good for grounding and balancing in emotions. I'm aware of a company in the US called Celtic Sea Salt, whose salt is sourced from many places, some with no claim to being Celtic. I therefore cannot see how it is different to regular sea salt. But it's been suggested that it's better for protection and financial abundance. There is a company called Hallan Mon from the Isle of Mon, or Anis Mon, in Wales, and I'm sure that their product would be superior to most. but I'm dubious if it would contain any Celtic or even Druidic magical benefits. In Indonesia, we commonly use black salt for its powerful protective qualities, including dispelling physical and emotional toxins. It's used for banishing negativity and hex breaking. One of the most common uses of black salt is to create a protective circle around your working space. Sprinkle a thin line of black salt around the perimeter of the area to ward off negative energies and create a safe, sacred space for your rituals. Craft a mojo bag using black fabric and fill it with black salt, herbs and crystals. Carry it with you or place it under your pillow and it will protect you from negative influences. It is simply salt mixed with carbon, although in the US it may contain pepper, rosemary and ashes. I simply crumble a charcoal briquette into the salt. Red salt is also known as Hawaiian red algae salt or Himalayan salt. It's a natural sea salt mixed with volcanic clay and iron oxide, which gives it a distinctive red colour. Red salt is supposedly good for home protection and blocking negative energy, whilst Himalayan pink salt is used to protect relationships and remove curses from them. Himalayan crystal mineral salt has very similar properties to rose quartz and is an excellent crystal for love, especially self-love. It not only helps one to experience self-love, but also takes action to do things that self-love implies. For example, finding sense of purpose, to live a healthier life, learning to say no, or take time for personal recreation and enjoyment. Himalayan salt is pure pink due to its iron content. Magically, iron represents the earth and the universe. Therefore, it is used in rituals involving protection, during out-of-the-body experiences, and shamanic journeying to other realms. Although I should add that I've heard Thomas Sheridan convincingly arguing that it has no powers. I do enjoy listening to Thomas, but find his pagan antipathy towards the Abrahamic faiths, especially Islam, a little too packaged. Given that Himalayan pink salt originates in Pakistan, was his argument yet another attack on Islam? Actually, I don't remember it had been this way, but I don't remember what it was. I do have some pink rocks, supposedly from Medina, and do believe, if it is really from Medina, it would have very powerful powers of protection. Maybe I should send it to Thomas. Magnesium sulphate is usually encountered in the form of a hydrate, MgSO4, NH2O, for various values of N between 1 and 11. The most common is a heptahydrate, MgSO4, 7H2O, known as Epsom salts, which is a household chemical with many traditional uses, including bath salts. The main use of magnesium sulphate, however, is in agriculture to correct soils deficient in magnesium, an essential plant nutrient because of the role of magnesium in chlorophyll and photosynthesis. The monohydrate is favoured for its use. By the mid-1970s, its production was 2.3 million tonnes per year. Anhydrous form and several hydrates occur in natural minerals, and a salt is a significant component of water from some springs. Epsom salts contains a vital element for the body, therapeutic Epsom salts for the natural wellness and pain relief. Epsom salts contains pure magnesium, which is a critical element that helps out plenty of functions inside the body, aiding with cells and muscles, primarily found inside bone and muscle. Magnesium can disappear from sweat, excessive protein and diuretics, plus processed foods, depleted overused crops, genetically modified foods are not helping matters. A lack of this element can, and many of us are lacking in it, can lead to heart disease, stroke, osteoporosis, arthritis, joint pain, digestive issues, stress-related illness, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, muscle aches and pains. The main external use is the formulation of bath salts, especially for foot baths to soothe sore feet. As a child in the UK in the 1960s, I would combine Epsom salts with food dye and maybe a scent to create bath salts as presents for female relatives. Epsom salt baths have been claimed to also soothe and hasten recovery of muscle pain, soreness or injury. 2 cups of Epsom salts dissolved in a gallon of warm water is a common remedy for achy feet. The salt has magnesium, which helps keep your muscles working well. Potential health effects of magnesium sulphate are reflected in medical studies on the impact of magnesium on resistant depression and as an analgesic for migraine and chronic pain. Magnesium sulphate has been studied for the treatment of asthma, preeclampsia and eclampsia. Magnesium sulphate is usually the main component of the concentrated salt solution used in isolation tanks to increase its specific gravity to approximately 1.25 to 1.26. The high density allows the individual to float effortlessly on the surface of the water in the closed tank, eliminating stimulation as many of the external senses as possible. In the UK, a medication containing magnesium sulphate and phenol, called a drawing paste, is useful for small boils or localised infections and removing splinters. Internally, magnesium sulphate may be administered by oral, respiratory or intravenous routes. Internal use include replacement therapy for magnesium deficiency, treatment of acute and severe erythemas as a bronchial dilator in the treatment of asthma, preventing eclampsia and cerebral palsy, as a tocolytic agent and as an anticonvulsant. It may also be used as a laxative. Spiritually, Epsom salts are used for purifying, specifically the body detoxification. They're perfect for ritual baths. I use them interchangeably or more often in addition to table salt. Epsom salts purify, bless and cleanse. In combination with other substances, they're used for love, money, jinxing and breaking jinxes. For strong purification, a bath and floor wash, blend 1 cup of Epsom salts, 1 cup of salt and 1 tablespoon of saltpetre and 1 crushed bluing ball. Dissolve a handful in a tub of water and add 1 tablespoon of ammonia. The used bath water makes a powerful home cleansing floor wash. For a simple drive-away powder, Epsom salts and gunpowder, throw it under your doorstep of your house at midnight and say, "As I throw this powder, so you must get away." A baking soda is a type of salt, sodium bicarbonate. It's also a natural antacid. A paste made from baking soda and a little bit of water can help with itching, stinging or minor swellings. It also helps with rashes from hives, angioedema or from contact with plants like poison ivy. Toothpaste with baking soda whitens your teeth. A baking soda can help fight microbes and neutralise bad breath for up to 3 hours. Make a mouthwash with half a teaspoon of baking soda and a cup of water. As a salt, baking soda has very similar magical qualities as regular salt, including banishing and protection spells. It can be sprinkled around the house for protection, just like salt. And mixed with water and an aromatic herb like rosemary, it can be used as a spray to remove heavy feelings in the air. It can be used to put out fires and is therefore useful in fire and candle magic. Like all salts, it can be used in relaxing baths to banish negative energy. A liquid sprinkled on clothes or in shoes of people you want to go away will encourage them to leave. It can be used as a substitute for salt when cleansing the altar and magical tools.